Bismillah, walhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulullah, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. And welcome back to the seerah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We left off last time talking about the hijrah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where he gave the glad tidings to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq that he will be migrating with him. And Aisha radiallahu anha narrated the hadith in Sahih Bukhari that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anha cried when he heard the story of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wanting him to be his companion along the beautiful journey that will be, of course, recorded in the history of Islam, never to be forgotten, inshallah. Now, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also, as we mentioned, is given Ali radiallahu anhu a chore. Not an easy one, it's certainly a difficult one, and he's given him his abaya to wear, so people will think that it's Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is in that bed, and he told them, when you wake up in the morning, that you give back the rightful, their dues, and so on. And now Abu Jahl, of course, is waiting outside, and he knew that in the middle of the night, that was the ground zero. There's that middle of the night, he comes out to pray and so on, so everybody knew that about him, and so they waited for him. Abu Jahl is there, and those young men from every tribe are there, ready, and all of a sudden, Abu Jahl is coming in, boasting, trotting, walking around. He's saying, you see, this man was promising you that if you follow me, you will control the Arabs, and the non-Arabs will come and pay you money, and the reward in this life and the reward in the hereafter. And here we are going to slaughter him. Subhanallah, ya akhi. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed, يَمْكُرُونَ وَيَمْكُرُ اللَّهُ وَاللَّهُ خَيْرُ الْمَاكِرِينَ. They will plot, and Allah will plot, and Allah is the best of plotters. Of course, in a way befitting His Majesty. You can understand, akhi and ukhti, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has already promised that this deen will prevail. Alhamdulillah. But it is only whether you want the reward or not want the reward. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam now is coming out of his home. As he goes out of his home, as we mentioned briefly, he takes a handful of dust, places it on the head of everyone that is waiting there, but they are waiting there where? In a state of slumber. Even though they stayed up all night to make sure that they don't miss this thing. They had all their plans, everything is in order. But, وَاللَّهُ غَالِبٌ عَلَىٰ أَمْرِهِ. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will decree the matter. And it's indeed Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will become victorious above all. After a while, it's almost Fajr. Before Fajr time, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ actually goes to his companion, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. He goes to his home. And now he says, it is time. As we mentioned before, he looks in and looks out, and he goes, everybody's out, and he makes sure that nobody knows anything about it, and they actually leave from the back door. So Quraysh would not know where they went through. However, after a while, a man is walking by, sees these men in a slumber mode, and they wake up. He says, what are you doing? He says, we're waiting. Waiting for whom? He says, for Muhammad. He says, he's already gone. Khasirtum. He says, you were in a state of loss. What are you doing? Wallahi, he put the dust on your head. Look, touches. He says, وَجَعَلْنَا مِن بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ سَدًّا وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ سَدًّا فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُمْ فَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ. Subhanallah. As we mentioned before, the vision is there. It's true. It does apply that, and it gives you that tool. But that tool comes with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As we mentioned before, the knife is supposed to cut, but it did not cut the throat of Ismail alayhi salam, and the fire is supposed to burn, and it did not burn Ibrahim alayhi salam, and so on. We're giving you these things to give you again the aqeedah, akhi. The aqeedah, the belief system that these things happen with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq is leaving in the back door with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, and these men already know that he's fled. They rush all over the place, and 911 call again. They're looking for him all over the place. They go back inside the house. Where is he? He's gone. Who is staying there? Is Ali ibn Abi Talib. They take him back to the masjid, and they want to imprison him. They want to beat him up to tell him, where did he go? Where did he go? Of course, not one word out of Ali. They knew that they weren't going to get anywhere from Ali. Where did they go? They went to Asma. the daughter of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu. They opened the door harshly. Of course, who was it be? It had to be Abu Jahl, of course. He opens the door, he hits Asma after he asks her, where is your father? Where is your father? She doesn't say anything. He slaps her, she falls down bleeding. Subhanallah ya akhi. Tyrants, nothing. They don't know how to do the manners and the etiquettes of anything. They're just after their goal and that's it. So now Prophet Muhammad went in secrecy. As a matter of fact, he went in the opposite direction of Medina, northwise. He went first Janub, toward Yemen, and he went, as a matter of fact, in Abu Ishaq, he actually took the route exactly. He went right, left, down, up, all over, just to make sure that if anybody is following them, would be confused. Of course, also Asma bint Abi Bakr helped in that, and Abdullah ibn Abi Bakr also helped in that. And Abdullah ibn Fahir, this is a person that actually ran the flock of the shepherd, of the herd, and he used to walk behind him with the sheep just to make sure that the sheep will go all over the footsteps of Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr Siddiq, so it would actually erase it. And it was one narration, it says that Prophet Muhammad used to walk on tippy toes and so on. من الدار إلى الغار. So he went from the house of Prophet Muhammad to go to Abu Bakr Siddiq. From Abu Bakr Siddiq, now he said, take the best of one, O Messenger of Allah. And they hired, believe it or not, a person, he was not a Muslim, to show them the way, like a guide. But they trusted him with it. They gave him the 2 camels, they went on their own, and they said, after 3 days, we will meet you in that ghar. That ghar, the cave, is actually in the mountain that is known now to be the mountain of Thawr, Ghar Thawr, where Prophet Muhammad hid for 3 days. They stayed there for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Now, Quraysh is looking all over the place in vain. They looked everywhere, nothing. They hit people, they asked, they interrogate, nothing. And now, Prophet Muhammad before he entered the Ghar, Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he says, please wait, don't go in there unless I go first. Why? He wants to pick the better view, maybe the bed that's it has an ocean front and the mountain view, and he wants to get the one with the air because it's too hot. No, he goes in to make sure it's safe. One narration says he would put his foot inside the holes to make sure there is nothing there. Make sure that he places the stone right under it, and so on. Make sure it's nice and safe and clean. So till he gives the permission for Prophet, go ahead, it's safe now. Subhanallah, ya akhi, how much he loved Prophet Muhammad. That's why Prophet Muhammad says, ما سبقكم أبو بكر بصيام ولا صلاة ولا zakat, nothing. It is not the acts of worship that Abu Bakr Siddiq beat us with. He says something, ha huna. He says here, something here in his heart. His belief, his iman, his faith. He says, إذا وضع هذا الإيمان في كفة والإيمان الأمة في كفة رجحت أبو بكر. If we put the iman, the belief, and the faith of Abu Bakr Siddiq on one side of the scale, and the whole ummah on the other side of the scale of Abu Bakr Siddiq would be heavier. Subhanallah ya akhi. Allahu Akbar. So he said he was worried. He says, Ya Rasulullah, wallahi, all they had to do was look down and they would see us. So Prophet Muhammad gave him the assurance, it's not the case. And I talked about this before, that I know that the hadith is da'if, when you see the cobweb and the spider coming in to make it look good, and all that stuff, it's not. The hadith is sahih, it says that they were there and they just didn't see him. Why? Because remember what happened to the wife of Abu Jahl? She says, where is your friend? She was talking to Abu Bakr. Again, you will see Abu Bakr with Prophet a lot. He says he used to actually work one day and come back one day, or half a day and come back one day. He used to stay there all the time to learn and be with Prophet Muhammad. And now he said that it's the same thing, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the vision away from Jamil. Not to see Prophet same thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took their vision away, that they will not be able to see Abu Bakr and Prophet Muhammad. Amazing. Now he goes in, Prophet Muhammad wants to sit down, he places the stone under, he takes a break, and now Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, one narration says that he put the head of Prophet on his thigh, just to make sure it is comfortable. And that comes and bites Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. It is very painful. I'm not speaking of experience, I'm just saying it's very painful, till the tears come down the cheek of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq. But he does not want to cry out loud, for what? Not to wake Prophet Muhammad. Allahu Akbar ya akhi. So he only were awakened by what? Because the tears of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq fell down and it touched Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and that's the way he was awakened. He said, what happened to you? He says, Wallahi, I do not want to wake you up. He says, you didn't wake me up. He says, because I saw your... He says, and of course, one narration says that يَدْفُلْ فِيهَا, and the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, by the blessing of Allah first and foremost, it was Abu Bakr as-Siddiq was healed with that. But you can see how much Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu was so much in the protection of Prophet ﷺ, as you will see a bit later, how he used to walk in front of him, behind him, on his right hand side, on his left hand side, and Prophet ﷺ said, look, what are you doing? He says, Akhsha, I'm afraid that somebody will come from front, I want to be in the front. And then I remember that maybe somebody will come from the back, I want to be in the back. Then maybe somebody from the right, so I go on the right. Maybe somebody will come from the left, so I go on the left. He's going all over the place to protect Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Allahu Akbar ya akhi. Amazing man. Now Prophet Muhammad ﷺ used to get the madad from Abdullah ibn Abi Bakr and Asma. Amazing, the story of Asma, a young woman, pregnant. She was called Dhun Nutaqayn. She actually took the thobe and tore it in half, one to cover herself and one to get to cover the food, and of course hanged. Long way. A woman pregnant in the heat of the desert, people after her, and she still did it. So if a woman can do that, akhi, how are you doing, man? Are you hanging in there? Inshallah? Very good. Now again, the food was given to them through that way, and they stayed there for 3 days. Alhamdulillah, everything was subsiding now. After 3 days, Quraysh knew there was something that they couldn't do it. Now they put a bounty on him. They said there's 100 camel. If you get him dead or alive. You heard this before? Sounds familiar, subhanAllah. He's wanted dead or alive. You're with me or against me? As you see, history repeats itself. Allah al-Musta'an. It's the same old record, broken record, same song, you're with me or against me. These tyrant people have no method of justice or whatever. Those who call themselves infinite justice, and we know infinite justice could only be established on Judgment Day, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, La dhulma al-yawm, no oppression today. So you cannot be, certainly, you cannot be the prosecutor, you cannot be the judge, the defender at the same time. We know that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu had chosen Abu Bakr for a few reasons. So many of them. We know that he is the one, that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said that he is the one to lead, and he is the one on my right arm, and he is the one so, and he loved him so much, he married his daughter, and there's so many reasons. But to choose him, to migrate with him, Umar al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, he says, who amongst us has the honor that he will be mentioned by name? Who is the one amongst us has the honor to be migrating with Prophet Muhammad ﷺ? Who is the one to have the honor to be mentioned in the Quran, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, in so many places? And who is the one who can do that? Who can say that he's the one that does all of this with Prophet ﷺ? No one. No one. Absolutely impossible. So we know for sure that we have some examples that I've given before. Then we will not go back into it again because we don't talk about politics. We'll continue with the seerah of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. However, now they stayed there for 3 days. In that 3 days, believe it or not, Quraysh came in right there. They still found Ghar Thawr. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, in the hadith Sahih, in Sahih Bukhari, he says, Wallahi, I see them. I look at their feet, and we were right there. All they had to do was look down. They would have seen us. But Prophet Muhammad ﷺ says, ما ظنك يا أبا بكر باثنين الله ثالثهما. What do you think, O Abu Bakr, with two, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is their third? He says, لا تحزن إن الله معنا. Don't be saddened, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is with us. So look at this beautiful utterance. That I want to make sure that you differentiate or distinguish between what Abu Bakr as-Siddiq heard from Prophet ﷺ and what the Jews heard from Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam was talking to people that had tangible examples. They wanted to isna' lana ilah kama lahum ilah. Give us a God to worship like something tangible. They needed something tangible. So Musa alayhi salam says, he says, me first, he says, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ma'ya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala first, he says I, then he says Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ma'iyya. But when Prophet Muhammad was talking to whom? He was talking to Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, different breed. He's Inna Allah ma'ana. Qaddam al-ilah an al-ma'iyya. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he comes first. But says, Inna ma'iya Rabbi. Musa alayhi salam says, Inna ma'ya, me, Rabbi, second. But Prophet Muhammad sallallahu says, Inna Allaha ma'ana. Indeed, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when Abu Bakr as-Siddiq hears that, he says, Allah ma'ana, that's it. But Jesus says, Ma'ya, I'm here, Musa, you can see me, I'm in front of you, tangible. You see the difference between the language, akhi and ukhti? That's the belief. That's why Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Ma sabaqakum Abu Bakr bisiyamin wala salatin wala zakat, nothing. It is not the acts of worship that Abu Bakr as-Siddiq beat us with. He says with something, ha huna. He says here, something here in his heart. His belief, his iman, his faith. He says, إذا وضع هذا الإيمان في كفة والإيمان الأمة في كفة رجحت أبو بكر. If we put the iman, the belief, and the faith of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq on one side of the scale, and the whole ummah on the other side of the scale of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq would be heavier. Subhanallah ya akhi. Allahu Akbar. So he said he was worried. He says, Ya Rasulullah, wallahi all they had to do was look down and they would see us. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him the assurance, it's not the case. And I talked about this before, that I know that the hadith is da'if, when you see the cobweb and you know the spider coming in to make it look good and you know all that stuff. It's not. The hadith is sahih. It says that they were there and they just didn't see him. Why? Because remember what happened to the wife of Abu Jahl? She says, where is your friend? She was talking to Abu Bakr. Again, you will see Abu Bakr with Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam a lot. He says he used to actually work one day and come back one day, or half a day and come back one day. He used to stay there all the time to learn and be with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And now he said that it's the same thing, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took the vision away from Jamil. Not to see Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, same thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took their vision away, that they would not be able to see Abu Bakr and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Amazing. And now they went away. After the 3 days, Abdullah ibn Urqayt, this is the man that they hired as a guide. He comes up with the 2 camels. He comes up with the 2 camels. Now they're following the dalil. So he goes in a totally different way. Ala sahil. He goes on the shore. He goes all over the place. He changes directions till he went to a place where nobody knew where he was. On the way, an old man saw Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and saw Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he doesn't know who Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is. But he knew Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, because Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, by the way, he was very well known among the Arab. He says he was actually among the one that he can tell you what your lineage is, whether are you truly from this family or not, are you from that tribe or not. He was actually had that expertise under his belt. So a lot of people knew him, and he knew a lot of people. So he says, who is this man with you, O Abu Bakr? He says, هذا رجل يدلني الطريق. He says, this is a man that guides me to the path. Did he lie? He didn't lie. This is a man, meaning Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, يهديني السبيل الطريق. He's the one guides me to the path. Which path? The path, as-sirat al-mustaqim, the straight path, the path to Jannah, inshaAllah. So, he didn't lie, but he used the ma'arid. إن في المعاريض لمندوبة لكم من الكذب. Certainly you can use an adjacent ruling, so you don't have to lie. Even when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, where are you from? Where are you from? Another man asked him, where are you from? He says, min ma'. You know what min ma' means? From water. And the Arabs used to actually use min ma' as like the well. They have a well, and they used to call the tribe according to the well. So, but he meant min ma'in dafiq. It comes from this ma' al-rajul, the sperm of the man. He actually, or he says we created everything from water and so on. So Prophet did not lie. He just told them in a way that he understood and he thought of. Now on the way, there was a lady called Mu'bad. She was known in history that she's the one that described Prophet Muhammad ﷺ the best. As if you see him. The scholars will take the hadith of Mu'bad that as the one to authenticate if anyone's seen Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in a vision or not. Everyone that explains that even though she saw him in a very short time, and they're passing by, they saw their tent, they went and they wanted to be hospitality. As-salamu alaykum, and the greeting is there. Do you have anything to do? He says, if we had any food or if we had any drink, you would not have had to ask. Meaning what? This is an automatic. Being hospitable to the guest was the norm. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ asked, do you have anything here? He says, it's anza. It's very young goat, very gaunty. It's like bones, nothing there. He says, do you mind if I ahlibha? I would actually get the milk from it, milk it. He says, please go ahead, but there's nothing there. So Prophet Muhammad ﷺ again, samma the barakah by the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, a'tini ina, give me a big pot. This big pot would actually be cooking for lots of people, like a whole tribe. So he says, bring it to me. So he started to milk that goat. There's nothing there. So he filled this whole big pot, الرغوة. These suds started to actually overflow. فشرب. He quenched the thirst of everyone there. And he refilled it again for her, and he left it with her. So this woman comes back and says, "What? Where did you get this from?" It's from this, what? This is nothing there. How could you get all this milk from this? He says, this man came in, the barakah, this blessing. Wallahi, ya rajul mubarak. And her husband now comes in. He says, what was that all about? He says, this man came in, and he says, and he started describing, he says, Wallahi, maybe that's the man that Quraysh is looking for. And so on. Now the word is getting around, and on that path, who was it? It was Suraqa. Suraqa ibn Malik, who was not a Muslim then. He became a Muslim, alhamdulillah, later. But he heard that there was 100 camel up for grabs if you get this man. And Suraqa's smart. He's very smart. He was actually sitting around and with socializing with some other people. And the people look over there and they see those two men being guided. He says, who are they? He says, no. He knew that it was them. But what happened? They actually said that maybe it's so-and-so from that tribe. Oh, I remember they had an errand to run, or they were traveling. And he didn't leave right away, because if he left right away, the people knew that he was lying, and he's after the bounty. Right? So he stayed with them for a while. And then after a while, he says, excuse me, I have to run an errand. And then he got in on his horse, and he wore the armor of war, and he was a very good horseman. He says, Wallahi, I have never fallen off a horse before. But hold on. He now hits the road after Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, and now Abu Bakr as-Siddiq sees from afar on the horizon, sees this a shape of a man coming. He says, Wallahi ya Rasulullah, I see evil in this man. He says, don't worry. And then he's coming closer. He says, Ya Rasulullah. He says, don't worry. And one narration says, Allahumma kfinihi bima shi't. Oh Allah, protect me from the way you wish. And now, what happens? Suraqa, radiallahu anh, he comes in. Just before he gets too close to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he says, as if the feet or the legs of the horse, whatever you call them, goes into the sand. And Suraqa falls off the horse. He couldn't believe it. He says, I've never fallen off the horse before. This was the first time. And he's still greedy. He wants to get that 100 camel. It's like 100 Cadillacs or Mercedes or whatever. It's a lot of money. Now, he gets back on the horse. He runs. He wants to get Prophet ﷺ. Again, his horse would, his feet would actually go right into the sand. He would fall on again. And the third time, he tries for the third time. And again, the horse would not be able to move. So when he falls off the horse, he says, فَعَلِمْتَ أَنَّهُ مَمْنُوعًا. I now know for sure that he is protected. No one would be able to get to him. So what happened to Suraqa? He goes to scream to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and says, Al-Aman, Ya Muhammad, Al-Aman, Al-Aman. He's asking to be protected. Imagine, the hunter becomes the hunted. Or that. Now, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, Ya Suraqa, كيف بك يا سراقة وأنت ترتدي صوري كسرى. Is how would you feel, O Suraqa, when you wear that jewelry of Kisra? Kisra? Are you kidding? Kisra was among the greatest leaders and the strongest powers at the time. Suraqa said, you're giving me the Suwaray Kisra and you're running away yourself? How could that possibly be? But it was to be, akhi. At the time of Umar al-Khattab, radiallahu anhu warda, when they actually beat Kisra, they took the jewelry and the army brought it back, and Umar al-Khattab has not forgotten what Prophet ﷺ says, give me Suraqa, here you go Suraqa, raise him up. In all of that we learn that the utterance of Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is the truth. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to resurrect us with him. Wa akhir da'wam alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Wa sallam ala alihi wa sahbihi wa tabi'in. Jazakumullah khairan wa assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.